like us, growing in years, with a goal to make a change of the world around your race. They've been able to set the pace.
Hello and welcome. Yes, it's your program, Youth Engage. Born on the 28th of April 1963, our guest today hails from Anambra State. She is Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, the former Minister of Education in Nigeria, a Democracy Ambassador, IDEA, and a 2018 Nobel Peace Prize nominee. She is one of the 100 Genius Visionaries inducted by the Genius 100 Foundation. In August 2021, she joined the reputable Yale University's Jackson School of Global Affairs as a senior fellow. Her passion for the Bring Back Our Girls initiative became an avalanche that caught the world's attention. She is married to Pastor Chinedu Ezekwesili and has 3 sons. Welcome to another thrilling time on television. Welcome to Youth Engage.
You're welcome to Youth Engage, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So good to see you guys.
It's nice to see you too, Mom.
Yes.
There's this phrase that says that the youth are the future leaders. And this phrase has generated a little dispute among us youths, and where some agree and some just tend to disagree.
Frankly, the youths are not just the leaders of the future. They are today's leaders. You've got to start leading today in order to more effectively lead tomorrow. I was brought up by parents that basically enabled us to learn leadership right there in the home. So I am born as the first child of my parents. The kind of responsibility that they gave to me. In fact, I used to say to my mom, "Are you really sure I'm your daughter?" You know, because I felt that the people who lived with us got away with a lot, whereas I didn't. But what my mom was doing then was she was preparing me for leadership. You know, and what our dad always said to us is that leadership is service. You know, you cannot, he used to say to us, I serve, therefore I lead. You can't lead without serving. So for the youths that kind of think, you know, we're not leading now, neither are we leading in the future, they're missing it. Every day that you are in your parents' home, every day that you're in the school system, every day that you're in your social networks with your friends, leadership is being exercised. It is your ability to understand that will then begin to shape you and improve your skills over time. I said to people that our home was like the laboratory where I learned how to sit at the boardroom, or to sit in cabinet and be able to hold my ground and convince people on my viewpoint. It starts right from the home. And so the young ones must understand that every day they wake up, as they make personal choices, as they determine their viewpoints in life, they are leading. Even if you're not leading any other person, you should be able to lead yourself. So what you lead yourself to be today would determine what you're going to be tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Ma. One thing I took away from that is that for every moment I must understand that at that same moment I am empowered to lead, and I'm
totally to lead. Absolutely. You couldn't have put it better. Because, you know, I see sometimes that our children are assuming that leadership means having a position. No. You know, a position doesn't mean being a leader. Having authority doesn't even mean being a leader. Yeah. Being a leader is having the capacity to influence others toward a particular direction. So we see you could have a grandmom who didn't even go to school, who doesn't read the newspapers in Nigeria. But in your village, she's so influential. She can get all the people in the village toward a particular perspective. Why? Because she's a leader. She's demonstrating the capacity to influence positively, sometimes negatively, and then the capacity to persuade people to a point of view where there is a unified sense of purpose.
I'm sure along the lines of your career, there were different points that you got to that you said, okay, at this point I know that I'm in accordance to what I pictured myself to be and the picture I had of myself. So what I want to ask is that what are those career milestones that you had that when you got there that you said that, okay, you're on the right path?
Career milestones. I wasn't thinking career. I was more thinking impact. I was thinking assignment. I wasn't sort of this person who was sitting around plotting how to get to this position. No, I didn't have time for that. I was one, based on the fact that training that our dad gave to us about service, I always sort of wanted to be able to be of service to in any situation I found myself. So, one major thing was that I hated anything that spoke of poor governance. Because as a child growing up, I'd watched the television, the black and white television. Oh, that was a big thing.
Of course.
Once they were able to buy television, we joined a new league. You guys, you're in a different world where you take a lot of things for granted.
Yeah.
Oh, the day we bought a white and black television, we climbed to a new league. So we would, watching that television and seeing that there were some countries that were absolutely more beautiful than my country. And as a child, I would say, why is that so? So I asked those questions. And in asking those questions, my dad would say, give a number of reasons. But a principal reason was always that, we were not being governed properly. So as a child, I was already being told about governance. So I picked up an interest on the matter of good governance and poor governance, and it followed me into adulthood. By the time I was now working. The next set of things that happened was my strong presence within civil society. So I became one of the leaders of concerned professionals, which by that time I was advocating the end to military rule, and especially when the June 12th elections were cancelled, were annulled. Those elections were annulled. So I was one of the leaders that said, no, the military had no right to annul the elections, where citizens had expressed their constitutional authority and the mandate that the right that the Constitution gives. And before that, I was already one of the co-founders of Transparency International, because in those days I used to write in the papers about these matters of good governance and the fact that without good governance we were not going to become a great country. So that passion for good governance followed me, and it just led me from one level of activities to another level of activities. With those growth in activities came what you call milestones, but I wasn't even counting them. I just kept moving as service required me to move. So I have a sense of assignment, not a sense of job. Career is job. Assignment is purpose. Do you get that?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't bother about career. Bother about purpose. Every time I see a young person who who you know, I mentor quite a number of them, and they say, Auntie Obi, if there's just one advice that you want to give me, what would it be? I would say, find purpose. Yeah, there is a reason you're here, and you need to find it. Besides all that we've been talking about, your generation is a generation of intellectual capital. The old economies of this world became great by virtue of knowledge, but it's become even much more possible to become greater by virtue of knowledge. It is not by mistake that when you look at the economic league table of the world, the countries at the top are not the ones that have gold, diamond, oil, gas. They are not the ones at the top. It is the ones that have invested in their human beings, that have invested in converting just a human being into human capital. So that your generation is the generation that can look at Nigeria and say, being oil rich has done us enough damage. We are going to be the people who, regardless of oil money or no oil money, we have the capacity, the intellectual ability, we have the skills. We're going to invest ourselves in the knowledge so that we can be innovative, we can be creative, we can be so competitive that the rest of the world will look at Nigeria and have nothing but respect for us. Because when you have that kind of a strategic mindset anchored on the values that we've been talking about, the only place you're going is to the top of the economic league table. You know, the benefit of our diversity has not been enjoyed. The reason is that our diversity has actually been used as a tool of division by a generation that has been much more comfortable with the easy money that comes from oil. So all of their competition has not been a competition to be the best. It has been a competition to collect as much as each person can from the common pool. But your generation must be people who are saying, that which I have not intellectually generated, I don't want to enjoy. Oil money is like winning Kalo Kalo. You know, it's like, you know, God gives you like free money. So people are not imaginative to say, how do we become the great nation that God has put us all together? And unfortunately, because we've not asked those questions, we now look at ourselves from the lenses of ethnicity, language, religion, and all these other primordial things. And they begin to deepen and widen our fault lines. Meanwhile, other societies looked at all those things and said, wow, this is beauty in diversity. So it means that when we want to solve a problem, we are not monolithic in our view. So it gives us opportunity to have variated viewpoints. And that leads us to efficient solutions and new ways, new thoughts, new ideals. And we can basically create more through our diversity. When your generation drives this process in the society, where you simply say, okay, it's all right that we have oil. The only thing that oil should do for us is that we should manage the revenue well and make sure that we use the revenue to build critical infrastructure that we need in order to have an environment that is good to do anything you need to do. We must invest some of that money in our education so we build the skills that are relevant to economic growth. We need the money to ensure that our institutions are strong and vibrant and that they are underpinned by a sense of the supremacy of the rule of law. So when you think that way, and then you say, ours is to be the generation that beats the rest of the world because of what's here, not because of what's under the soil. Wow, can you just imagine? Maybe by then, people like me would have been gone, but but where I am, hopefully by God's grace at the bosom of the Lord, I would be saying, that's what I hope would happen.
You've given us a brief history of your activism and all that. I'm sure you faced challenges, you faced problems, you have failed in life. How are you able to pick yourself back to become this strong person that everybody now looks up to, everybody wants to be like?
You want me to start crying on this program? We all fail, we all falter, we all get depressed. But when I said to myself that you are only entitled to 24 hours of depression. Anything beyond that, you're on your own. So that has helped a lot. So no matter what the failure may be, no matter what the faltering may be, because none of us is omnipotent. Even the scripture says that God knows our failures. He knows that we're mere mortals. So he knows all of that. And so at the times that I have found myself, not very proud of any of what I have been through, what the outcome has been, what my choices or my decisions have been, I've always, sort of remembered that the Almighty that created me actually does not kill me because I made a mistake. He's ever so merciful and ever so ready to give me another opportunity. So I understood failure to be the same thing. That if God himself can forgive me for stumbling, then it means that when I fail, that's a stumble, I must forgive myself and quickly pick myself up and keep moving. So that meant, I say to people that the mindset is where it all begins. If you've got a mindset that says to you that once you failed, it's something to be so ashamed of that you would never even bother trying, that mindset is going to kill you. But if you have a mindset that would say, so I failed, okay, I'm going to try and understand why I failed. The worst thing that can happen to you is where you are not accountable. So you just live this pretentious life. The failure is staring you in the face. You're pretending it doesn't exist just because you don't want to confront it. No, you must confront it. You must confront the failure. You must accept that you failed in that particular thing. And then you must say, you know what? God helping me, I can succeed at something. And please always find people who can, people who can encourage you in those moments of failure.
All right, Ma. So thank you very much for that word of advice, Ma. It's important that in the face of failure we hold on to hope. Ma, I know that mentorship is very important, as you have said that there were a lot of major influences in your life. And a lot of young people, we want mentors, we look out for people that can mentor us in the path or the assignment that we have to serve our nation. And so I want to ask that, what do mentors look out for in their proteges? For example, I know you have a lot of mentees and proteges, said you have a lot of them. So what do you look out for? When you see somebody and say, I want to mentor this person, what is it that you look out for in the person?
Character. you can buy competence and you can buy capacity, but you can buy character. Character is so integral to the person that you are and the choices that you make. So when I see young people who are able to have that sense of dignity and purpose and an unwillingness to negotiate their values for a mess of pottage, I know there's something in this one. I love to see young people who have this will of the wisp, where they're basically saying, I don't care about the limitations of my circumstances of birth. I can pull myself by the bootstrap, and I can, with the help of God, just walk myself up this ladder. I love to see that determination. There's this level of stoicism that a young person shows, and I see it in the passion. I mean, like a lot of my mentees have this passion and drive, So even if I've never met them and they send me an email, as I read the email, I can tell. What a person says to me in those few lines that they write to me can it's a window into the mental mindset of the person that's saying to me, I want you to be my mentor.
Thank you very, very much. God bless you.
Bless you too.
Warriors like us, growing in years, with a goal to make a change of the world around your race. They've been able to set the pace. Today, we engage them with passion, hoping to learn of their ways, to be legends of our future. So our feet on the prints we lay. They are legends of a generation, heading into the future. Legends of our time, making so great an impact, all because they dare to stand. They are legends of a generation, heading into the future. Legends over time, making so great an impact, all because they dare to stand. Their life to us is like a book to read.